Yep, your girl played Rune Factory Guardians of Azuma for 3 hours, and I have a lot to say, both good and a little bit of concerns. I tested it on both PC and Nintendo Switch. It's important to note that this preview build is a work in progress, meaning a lot can change by the time we get the full game on May 30th. So anything that I encountered can be removed, added, changed, we don't know what's gonna happen. With that said, thank you so much to Marvelous for inviting me to their headquarters so I can bring you this bubbly video. In the spin-off title, you choose one of the two protagonists, Subaru and Kaguya, and if you didn't know, you can actually romance the other protagonist depending on who you choose to play as. Your goal here is to fight against the Blight's various forms, and if you're new to the series and you're someone who gets bored of farming games that only have farming and romance as the core mechanic, I can tell you this franchise is gonna be perfect for you. This is more of an action RPG life sim game where you dabble in various gameplay mechanics. In this entry, you have your typical farming, romance, crafting, and fighting, but you also have the added feature of rebuilding entire villages which are based off the 4 seasons. And these villages are inspired by traditional Japanese culture, which is a first for the series. And unlike previous games, this game is much more of an open world experience. Of course, combat is the bread and butter of any Rune Factory game. In Guardians of Azuma, you have a range of weapons to master. You have your swords, you have your dual wield daggers, you've got bows, and even talisman. You also have different skills, magic, and divine tools which you can switch between on the go. And as always, you don't have to be alone in the battlefield. You can always bring the different bachelors and bachelorettes as well as some of the monsters that you have tamed. The bow is great for ranged attacks, and a lot of enemies are just gonna stay away from you, so it's best to use the bow to hit them. But as far as I've played, there is no aim assist, and because I jumped into the game without having any prior knowledge, I didn't really practice playing, it was very hard for me to get my shots in properly. Swords, on the other hand, felt so good. They're very fluid, they're very intuitive, and you can also pack food that's gonna raise both your HP and your RP. RP is gonna be used to execute some devastating special attacks that will deal so much damage to the enemy. In typical Rune Factory fashion, you have your dungeons, which you're gonna explore. They've got some tough bosses inside at the end, and there's also plenty of loot for you to gather, as well as resources. Sometimes you're gonna find yourself trapped in a certain area. You're gonna have to take down all of the monsters before you can advance further into the dungeon. Now, enemies can sometimes appear suddenly as well, which I actually like because it kind of kept me on my toes. The companions seem smart enough, and they were very useful as far as I've played. You also have some areas where you can relax before getting into a boss battle, which is of course very helpful because you need to restock on your energy. With bosses, you have to be more vigilant, and you gotta make use of features like stunning them, so this will make them stop moving completely, and this is where it's probably a good idea to start using your skills so you can do plenty of damage. Now, the world is open, and you have various tools at your disposal to gather resources, so you can mine rocks and ores. You can also sweep things around. You also have these statues where you perform a dance of bonds and you get recipes as a reward. You can also get rid of the blight and get rewarded for it with plenty of resources. And I love that you can see characters follow you. I reviewed Atelier Yumiya this week, and I don't like that she's just talking, it feels like she's talking to herself, where she's actually talking to her companions, but you don't see them around. And I know that this is typical for a lot of JRPGs, but I really like that in this game you can actually see your companions just go around with you, and it feels a lot more immersive for the gameplay. With that said, as far as I've seen, I'm a bit concerned if the open world is gonna feel empty like it did in Rune Factory 5. The build I played was set up by the team, so that means that I couldn't just go, out and about and do whatever I want to do. I really hope that the world is not gonna feel empty. Of course, this would not be a Rune Factory game without farming, and here you have your wheel for your tools. It's very helpful and handy. You can use the sacred drum, for example, to encourage the crops to grow. You can use your sacred sword or the sacred fan to quickly harvest crops. Each plot field will have room for several crops, and each square inside that crop field will have room for 4 crops to grow. But you actually use just 1 pouch based on what I've seen to grow your crops. And you can also use your parasol to water the crops. I really love that while planting, you're gonna see exactly how many days the crop take to grow and which village it's gonna grow well in. So here, there are no seasons in the game like typical games. On the contrary, each village will be designated to one of the 4 seasons. So crops are gonna be planted in certain villages. I like this mechanic. It means that you don't have to wait a whole year for you to plant, I don't know, a summer crop. You actually have all of the 4 seasons going on at the same time. They're just in different villages. Another feature I really like is that you see the estimated value of your crop when you're around it, as well as the estimated yield and the time until harvest. These are all amazing quality of life features that make farming a lot simpler. As part of your adventure, you're helping construct the 4 villages that I was talking about previously from the ground up, so people will be encouraged to live there. You use this carpenter and you ask him to build things for you using materials you have collected as well as money. So you can build people's homes, businesses, shrines, decoration, and more, and this all plays into leveling up your villages. The guy is pretty annoying because every time I was building anything, he just kept saying the same thing over and over again. It's kind of like that take your time that Palmo did when we were playing Rune Factory 5, but now it's this guy.
Nice and solid if I do say so myself. Nice and solid if I do say so myself.
And I also found that with other merchants as well. They just keep repeating the same thing. I'm just like, shut up. Oh, and you can build multiple things at the same time. Now, you're gonna have a set of village-related quests to fulfill, and this will help you level up. In turn, this will expand the amount of people that can move in. You're also gonna unlock new recipes. When you level up, you can also increase the amount of buildings and decor that you can use in the village. I enjoyed playing around the construction, and I really love that we have a bird's eye view to move things around. So when I was playing on the PC, I still used an Xbox controller, and the controls felt super easy and intuitive. Having played Atelier Yumia last week with only one point of view, which is like the third person point of view, it just made it so daunting and annoying to use the building feature, and I just ended up skipping it altogether and just using the presets instead. So it was really nice to see the different options here. So yes, not only do you have a top-down view, you can also use the simple third person if you want, but for me, it just felt a lot more unintuitive to use the third person, and I preferred the top-down view. And what I appreciate is that different buildings and decor can serve different purposes. So you're not just building for the sake of it. You actually gain valuable bonuses and buffs for the items that you're adding in. So it's very similar to the My Time games. If you played that and you decorate your house, you can see that the buffs are gonna add up into your character. So this is very similar here, except you're not doing it in the house. You're doing it in the village itself. If you're wondering about the houses that you're building though, you cannot go inside them. Some of them are more like open, so like the blacksmith, but you cannot walk into the houses or explore what's inside. I really wish we can, but sadly we just can't do that. And to add to that, you can rotate the buildings and the decor. Now, the people who move in are gonna help you in the village, and you choose what jobs you wanna assign them to. So there's this level of micromanagement that you're gonna be doing here. You need to make sure that people are happy and fed and everything in between. As for the terrain, you have a bit of terraforming. So think Animal Crossing New Horizons, but a lot simpler and a lot easier. So you can unlock new terrain styles, items, seeds, structures, etc. Now, you can't just place buildings anywhere you want in the entire map. Based on what I've seen from the preview, you have specific designated areas which are colored in green on your map. So this is where you can build. I really like how varied the towns are with the different seasons assigned to them, but I do wonder if I'm gonna feel overwhelmed by the multiple villages to build. You know, if you've played games like Sunhaven, Fae Farm, Coral Island, anytime that you have to move to the second part of the farm, I just can't be bothered with it, and that's when a lot of times I just give up on the game. So I don't know how I'm gonna feel when I finally play this game for a lot more time rather than just 3 hours. Romance-wise, this entry has the most romanceable NPCs we've ever seen in a Rune Factory game. You've got 16 love interests that you can pursue. So let me know who you're gonna romance. The greatest part for me is that everyone's voice acted, and you have no idea how much immersion this adds to the game. I tried both the Japanese and English voice acting. I typically prefer English voice acting because I'm Lebanese, English is not my first language, so keeping up with the subtitles is usually very difficult for me. But I gotta tell you guys, this is the first time in my life where I was like, yeah, no, I'm gonna stick to the Japanese. I don't know, there's just something about the English voice actors that I don't know, their feelings don't really hit.
ご挨拶だな。まさか相棒の顔を忘れたのか？起きろ相棒。おい、起きろってば。
Basket runneth over. See? Piece of cake for yours truly.
A bountiful harvest indeed.
I also like that your protagonist, so the person that you're playing as, is also voice acted rather than being silent. Oh, and by the way, you can change your name, so if you don't want to be called Subaru or Kaguya, you can do that. In terms of romance, you're gonna go on these dates with your love interest and they'll slowly open up to you. I saw that some will give you a specific day and time that they want to see you in. If you romance multiple people, they're not gonna get jealous or upset with you like in Stardew Valley, for example. The big question, what about the PC and most importantly, the Switch port? Hello, you gorgeous human being, it's Miss Bubbles. Before we get into that, if this video is helpful so far, it would mean the world if you would donate to my coffee or you become a channel member and get plenty of perks in return. This will help me keep making videos like this for you, and you can always squish the like and subscribe buttons because I will be reviewing this game, and this will push the YouTube algorithm to send this video over to a lot more Rune Factory fans who might be interested in this. So I mostly played the game on one of the team members' work laptop, and the game actually ran pretty well, again considering that this is a work laptop. It's not a gaming one, it doesn't have like the latest and greatest CPU or GPU, so that really put me at ease. Outside of the occasional pop-in here and there, everything ran great. However, I wish I had some footage from the Nintendo Switch. Sadly, I don't, so you're gonna have to take my word for it. The Nintendo Switch is definitely struggling with this game. A lot of pop-in was happening. I have to say it felt a lot smoother than Rune Factory 5 did, but the pop-in was very immersion breaking. So the game was not stuttering, it was just the pop-in that felt weird to me, but based on what I've seen from that preview, it ran a lot better than Rune Factory 5. And I can easily say after seeing this, yes, I know that this is a preview build, a lot can change, but I think I am probably gonna play this game fully on PC. I'm still gonna play the Nintendo Switch version to show you how things play between both when it's time for me to review the games for you. However, for me, I think I'm just gonna play on a PC and just spare myself from all the pop-in. Let me know if you're picking up Rune Factory Guardians of Azuma, and if you love JRPGs, especially with like some cozy, wholesome vibes, check out my Atelier Yumiya First Impressions video. Thank you to my YouTube and Patreon bubblies who make videos like this possible, and a shout out goes to the games I mentioned, Jake, Logan, and Will for going the extra mile. Until next time, stay bubbly.